You have no friends, you feel lonely, you feel like you don't belong, you don't fit in. Friday night comes along, and here we go again. The same movie over and over, the broken record. Here I am, just hanging out in my room. I got nobody to talk to. Nobody calls me, says, hey, would you like to go out and take a walk? So you have no friends, or you have a little bit of friends, maybe two friends, three friends, and maybe you're close to them, maybe you're not. But you would like to have more friends in your life. You would like to have more of a social life. So I'm going to go ahead and say, if you have little to no friends, consider yourself lucky. Okay? And I'm not saying this to make you feel better. I'm not saying this to somehow play reverse psychology or, play a trick or two on your mind. I actually genuinely mean it. And this is coming from someone who's had many phases in life. I've had that phase. I was that guy every Friday and Saturday just chilling in my room. Why? Because it's always cold in Canada, like 8 months of the year. So it's not even outside chilling by myself. Although there were many times of just me going out into the woods and just hanging out by myself. And then there were phases, periods where I was also Mr. Popular. Particularly in 2013 all the way to 2016 or 17. That was around the time I had the fitness channel, and I was really like a superstar in the gym, and I knew everybody and blah 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 blah. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, consider yourself lucky if you have either little friends or no friends, because quite frankly, friends, our conventional definition of a friend, hey, let's go hang out, is largely unnecessary and, quite frankly, a waste of time and energy. It really is. It's a waste of time and energy to spend time with someone because you want to feel like you have a social life. Okay, it really is. And right around 2016, right around the time I had my first mushroom experience, is when I began to gravitate more towards solitude. And little by little, I wouldn't really hang out with people as much anyway, as much anymore. But of course, I had my little, not even circle, just my friends. I could probably count them on my hands. I could think of their names right now. Okay, that's one. Okay, that's two. Three. Yeah, I had maybe three or four friends towards the end of my stay in Canada that I would get in touch with. I would meet up with maybe once a month, once every 2 months, right? And we would talk about this kind of shit we talk about in this channel, right? And that was sufficient enough for me. That was absolutely sufficient enough. And every time we hang out, I really looked forward to it. But for the most part, I really began to naturally gravitate towards spending time alone. Mostly because I was realizing that I was largely spending time with other people, acquaintances, not really friends. Because I really just wanted to feel like I have a social life. I wanted to feel good about myself. I wanted to feel like I'm a human being that belongs in a society, that has a social life. I wanted to be normal, in other words. I wanted to be normal, okay? And I'm telling you right now, it, spending time with humans is mostly a waste of time. Now, that sounds like gloom and doom, right? You will find your people. Make no mistake about it. You will find your people. Okay? You will find your people. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay? You will find your people. Make no mistake. The universe will bring you and your people together. Okay, your fellow, whatever, your fellow tribe, your tribe members, right? In a matter of, just it's the way it. Look, we're all different and we're all one. So we're all one being. It's just one consciousness. It's one thing. You are no different than Hitler, no different than Trump, no different than Gandhi, no different than the peasants back in Russia back in the 1900s, in the early 1900s. You're no different than anybody. It's the same substance, really. It is the same substance. It is the same consciousness that is playing all these different manifestations. But within the time-space illusion, you're different. Orange is different than yellow. Yellow is different than blue. That's all, but it's all one. It's all part of the light spectrum. It's all one color, really. And those seven are manifestations of the one color, and so it's the same thing, really. But they're different. While we're playing in the time and space illusion, while we're in the illusion, oh yeah, I'm looking at, this is orange, this is blue. Do you agree with me? Oh yeah, they're different. So in that way, when you're playing in the time space illusion, you have to recognize that you're going to be different. So and the way the universe organizes itself is by matching its vibrational, it brings vibrational matches together until they're no longer vibrational matches. Okay? And so the deeper and deeper you get into the rabbit hole, the rabbit hole of being awake, essentially, wake up from sleep, the less and less people you can not only relate to, but can quite frankly tolerate the presence of for long enough. Like, I can tolerate a mediocre conversation with somebody here, let's say. Okay, hey, how's it going? Good. Where are you coming from? Oh yeah, how long are you staying here? How long is your vacation? I can tolerate that stuff for about 5 minutes. But then but then I have to, hopefully, I mean, the conversation usually just resolves itself on its own momentum, and we go on about our paths, right? Just superficial. But I just don't really have the time or the energy to tolerate more than 5 minutes of that. Okay, it's just plain and simple. All right. And yet I met people on my travels who I got intimate with this woman I talked about in previous video, and we pretty much got along very nicely. That was a friend. That was a friend. And so I've met some people here. There's another friend actually right now. He knows who he is if he's watching the videos. I hang out with him. So you will meet people people where you could just be with for hours and get lost in conversation, in connection, etc. So you will meet these people, but like I said, the deeper you get into the rabbit hole, the less people you relate to, and the less people you want to tolerate. I have no time and energy at this point in my life for again, mundane things. You travel and it becomes so redundant. Even the type of people you meet. Because I said this before, in Canada I only met 10 people. Because everybody's templates, everybody's programs. So when I say 10 people, I mean the stereotypes exist and they're actually quite convenient and helpful. There is about 10 people you'll meet in any country, because 10 is even too much. Because everybody just becomes like a template, a program. You could see it based on their culture and upbringing, and they're just like programs, right? Just programs. And so you get deeper into the rabbit hole, and you just there's less people to relate to. So I am at the point now where I am, extremely selective, actually, annoyingly, arrogantly even, selective about the people that come into my life. I follow the golden rule of the Tao Te Ching, which is do not avoid an encounter, but do not seek one. So I never avoid it. If somebody comes up to me or it strikes up a conversation, I'll never avoid it. Never. And kindness is also the golden rule. The kindness, you be kind to anybody. You be kind to anybody, really. Doesn't matter. even rude people. Just try your best to be kind to them. Kindness, it goes without saying. You have to understand that kindness is just the way you are. Kindness is one thing, and then bringing people into your life and getting more intimate in whichever way isn't a different thing altogether. And I'm at a point now where I'm extremely annoyingly, arrogantly even selective. Very selective, because I do very much enjoy my own company. I do enjoy solitude. I really, really do. And the deeper I get into the rabbit hole, the more I meditate, the more I calm down, the more my mind stays still, the more I'm enjoying my day-to-day, moment-to-moment activities. Like just now, I worked out, and then I stood I did a standing like a tree meditation. I just stood up for probably 45 minutes, and I just looked at the sun, and I was in pure bliss, man. I had some music on, and I was just in pure bliss. And that to me is like, you know, like if I'm going to be involved with another human being, if a friend or anybody, a partner, uh, it better be as blissful and as connecting as that, the experience of me standing, doing the standing tree meditation and just closing my eyes with music and taking in the sun. It better at least match that experience, because I felt just incredible connection to the sun, to the earth. I felt my feet, planted to the ground. I felt the sun coming through my third eye. I felt with the Sufi music playing, and oh God, what an experience. What a beautiful experience that is. What an absolutely connecting experience, a union, a yogic experience. And if I'm going to have a human being in my life where I'm going to sit with you and spend 2, 3, 4 hours, then I better get the same feeling of connection, optimism, positive energy, positive exchange of energy like I got in the standing meditation, in the standing like a tree meditation, or else, let me go back to doing something else. Something where I feel yoga. Let me go back to doing any form of yoga, like making video is a form of yoga. I feel also connected, in flow, in harmony, and I feel like I'm getting more clarity for myself, and I feel like I'm serving others. So service to others is connecting. I feel like there is an audience. You guys are listening. You guys are getting stuff out of these videos. You're getting benefits. So this is, for me, is a yoga also. Do I want to make a video right now, or do I want to sit with another human being just to feel like I fit in, I'm normal, I have friends, like I'm not a loser? To me, being a loser is actually just hanging out with people because you feel lonely and you're trying to fill a void. That's being a loser to me. That to me, in my books nowadays, is what constitutes a loser, quote unquote. You see? And you don't even imagine, you can't even comprehend how many people are in all various kinds of relationships and friendships just for that alone, just so they don't feel lonely. They're trying to fill up a void. They're seeking. They're going to places. Yeah, it's cool, man. You meet a lot of people. You see that travelers especially, and I understand it's exploring, it's getting to know others and learning and blah blah blah. But you see it everywhere. You see that seeking, like, oh yeah, like you meet a lot of people, like you said, people like. If I go there, is it? Do you meet a lot of people? Do you meet a lot of people? Right. It's like you see this instantaneously. We look for ways to fill up the void. We don't feel comfortable in solitude, in silence, in just being. We don't feel comfortable, and so we seek companionship. We seek friendship, right? And to be also more frank and honest, the more I meditate, the more I'm in union with the elements. I don't know. I even having friends that I connect with, like people that are woke, is becoming like, if it's there, great. I love it. If it's there, like I can think of the friend I was hanging out with him yesterday. I can think of him, and I enjoy his company. It's great. He's a fantastic guy. He's woke. We talk. We have deep conversations. I enjoy it. But what I'm saying is, the more I connect to the elements, to my true self, peace, God, because God doesn't need anyone. I read this thing on somebody's Facebook. It said, what was it? It said, you're God, and you're trying to get the human validation. How absurd. Which is true. the more and more I am God, the more and more I am peace, the more and more I am harmony, the more and more I am love and light and beauty and serenity and infinity and you know, the more I am that, the more I'm connected with the elements, with the sun, with the earth, with Gaia, with my, how could I forget, my soul fam. I'm constant communication with the soul fam. Never, I mean, I feel more, they're so entertaining too. The group that I'm working with are really, you know, quite hilarious. So I'm constantly being entertained. Then, you know, even having a friend who I can connect with, who's, you know, somebody who's awake also and deep into the rabbit hole, it doesn't seem very necessary at this point. It doesn't seem like, it's not even something I'm looking for per se anymore. I'm not you know, I'm not looking for it. I'm not, and there's a lot, you know, in Pi here, you can go to yoga, you can go to places, meet conscious people. Unless we meet just by me doing my thing, which is the way I met my friend Manny. Then even that is like, I'm not gonna look for it because I don't feel the need to look for it, you see? The more and more you are who you are, which basically you can be more of who you are with three things. You serve others, you meditate, and you study. Study self. Study yourself. Study the true nature of self. And then realize it in meditation and realize it by serving others, which, you know, I serve you guys, I feel very connected also. You know, this is very foundational for me, very, very key for me to feel this sense of like, yeah, I am loving awareness, I am doing my part, I'm playing my role here. And so that, all that combined, then even I'm not even looking anymore for friends and woke people and stuff like that. It's not as important. You know, it's not as important, but if it's there, I welcome it and I embrace it. You know, but again, because the more and more you are who you are, the less you need anything, period. Period. The less food you need, the less companionship you need, the less validation you need. And when you're fully in yourself, fully who you are, eternal peace, eternal love, eternal light, you have zero needs. That's when you can reach the breatharian state also. Zero needs. No need for food, no need for water, no need for anybody, no need for anything. You know, that if you're really who you are, there's zero needs. You have zero needs. Zero needs. Okay? Even oxygen, which is the last remaining thing, you know, well, you know, there are stories you read in Yogananda's book and other yogic books of yogis who are buried alive, and they just leave their body and they just park it and they come back like a year later, you know, and then they come back a year later. You know, there's stories of yogis who have even gone beyond oxygen. Okay, so even that, okay? You got people like Wim Hof who are able to go deep into the self and they're able to hold their breath for, you know, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. There's that crazy guy, David Blaine. I think he did 21 minutes. You know, so you see that everywhere. And so even that, the last remaining need, there are ways, if you really go deep into the true self, where you can even go beyond that. Because you can just park your body and come back to it whenever you want, because you're the creator, because you created all of this, and so you can bend all the rules. You can bend the biological rules of a human vehicle. So if you have no friends right now, you're lucky, because now you work on yourself, which is figuring out who am I, what's my purpose, and what's my mission here. You're lucky. What do you need to waste all this time and energy for anyway? Most human beings are lost. Even the harvest, you know, where, you know, only in this, because we're towards the end of the cycle now. If you're up to date with the raw material and stuff that I've been talking about, basically, the planet is ascending to 4D, fourth dimensional, the heart chakra, unity, connection, and the human beings, the percentage of the human beings who are going to make it, who are going to ascend to fourth density, is probably no more than 10%. That's 10% of 8 billion, that's 800 million. Less than a billion people will actually be able to make the fourth density shift. The rest will have to go to other planets that are third density. So most human beings, you could take it as 90% of human beings aren't even going to graduate. They're going to repeat until eventually they're able to go to fourth density. So 90% of humans, you know, they're not even ready for any of this stuff. Period. They're not even going to graduate. You don't have to go to other planets that are third density. You see? So I'm just saying, you know, it's one part of the minimalism. It's reduce and reduce until all action is brought to non-action. Reduce. If you got 10 friends right now, that's too much, probably. Like, probably. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm saying, like, if you got like 10 people that you feel like obligated to hang out with, and you're hanging out with like on a regular basis, right? Not saying 10 friends who you maybe, like I definitely, if I can sit down and count, I've got probably at least 10 friends. But, they're sort of all over the world. It's not people that I'm constantly in and out of. But, bottom line is, if you've got too many friends right now, chances are, if you're hanging out with too many people, let's say, forget that number 10, that's bullshit. If you're hanging out with too many people right now, chances are, you probably can use some reduction. Chances are, I'm just saying, chances are. Not always true, but chances are. Okay, chances are that, for some of them, you're just doing it because you guys did it and now you're just hanging out, and even though now you're all on different paths, but you're just doing it anyway. Like, it took me some time to break up from my high school friends. It was like a swinging thing, because I just felt obligated to hang out with them because I've been hanging out with them for years. So it took some time for me to finally make the break, and it was good. When I made the break, I freed up so much of my energy, because then I felt obligated to call on the weekends. I felt like we need to hang out, and I'd smoke weed even though I didn't want to anymore. And I had to end it. I had to end that relationship, and then new friends came into my life. You see? So even then, you might have to end some of your friendships now to allow for new friends to come along. And if you're in a position right now where you feel lonely and you got no friends, I mean, great. Hey, all power to you, man, woman. Go at it now. Go deep into the self until you reach the point where you are totally self-sufficient, because you are totally self-sufficient. It is so absurd, actually, for God to be looking for human intervention, for human validation. It is actually really, really absurd for God to be searching for human validation. And when we go looking for friends, looking for people to meet, etc., we are in a way searching. We're playing the social game. We're in a way looking for human validation. Follow the 2 golden rules. The first one is be kind to everyone. The second one is do not reject an encounter, but do not seek for one. So do not avoid, but do not seek. Do not be in a state of avoidance, because that's an attachment. That's also problematic, because you're running away from something. There's fear there. Do not avoid, but do not seek. Be kind to everyone, and be mindful of the people that you choose to bring closer. To you. Okay, that you agree in a way. If you feel good around the people, you feel uplifted. You feel connection. Great. Go the distance. Build that relationship, cultivate that relationship. And even then, I would recommend that you still spend a lot of your time in solitude. And I still recommend that you still, like in Canada, I had a really perfect arrangement, because I had such close, such close friends, very, very close. Yeah, I'm in touch with them. But I would see them maybe once a month. And that was perfect, because I'd see them once a month. Like, I had a friend who would come visit me once a month, and stay over and sleep over. And we would just connect. Boom. Beautiful time. Usually he'd come in once every 2 months. He'd come on Friday, leave on Sunday. And we'd just hang out and have these deep conversations. And that was beautiful. It was beautiful, because I would connect with another human being. I would understand. And then we'd both just go on our own solitude, because he was in the same way, mostly in solitary. Still is mostly solitary, right? And now I have the same arrangement here now, actually. I never avoid any encounter, but I don't seek for one either. In fact, in a way, I have to work a little bit on the avoidance part, because I go around at all totally not wanting companionship, and sometimes I avoid. So I'm even now, believe it or not, trying to work on that a little bit. Just be more open to encounters. If they come to me, just be open to them. Because again, once you're in the depth of solitude, and once you experience the bliss and the connection, you feel connected. If you're on a mission, you're serving people, and you're connected to the elements, and you're meditating, and you're studying the true nature of self, and you're realizing it day by day. I mean, you will naturally just see it, man. You know, and if you can't relate to this, just, I always use this. I love psychedelics because they right away they make people understand. When you take a psychedelic, if you have taken it, do you feel you need anything? Do you feel you need food? Do you feel you need water? Do you feel you need friends? No, you don't. Guarantee you, most of you guys, if you have taken it, you know the answer to this. No, you don't, because you're more yourself. You're more of the peaceful, loving awareness, and that peaceful, loving awareness, it's a state of total fulfillment. There's total fulfillment, because that's who you are. So if you start to realize that more and more in your daily life, there's zero need. And it's the paradox of it all is when you're in that state, because your vibe is so high, because you're in a state of non-neediness, the paradox of it is that more people gravitate towards you because most people are energy deprived. Okay, most people are energy deprived. So when they see someone with a lot of with a big energy field, they'll gravitate towards it. So the paradox is when you're in a state of total non-neediness, you will encounter more people. That's what happens. It's a funny thing, is you'll begin to encounter more people because they sense the light in you, and most humans are energy deprived. Again, 90% of humans aren't gonna graduate this cycle, so they'll gravitate towards you. You see, and that's when I say also be mindful of who you befriend. Once you become friends with someone, you go deeper. The intimacy and the connection goes deeper. You see? And so just be mindful of that. Be kind to everyone. Do not avoid, but do not seek. If you find yourself in a phase in your life right now where you have no friends, nobody to connect to, nobody to communicate, that is a blessing. That is a blessing right now. That is an opportunity for no distractions. You kidding me? No distractions. Oh God. No distractions. How wonderful. How wonderful. You could meditate for hours at a time. You could spend... I have been in the presence of the sun today for, since maybe 11 in the morning, no, even more, 10 in the morning. And it must be around 4 now? 6 hours. I've just been connecting with the sun and the elements, and just barefoot, shirtless. Lovely, 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 lovely time. I am, God bless, I am having a blast. Lovely time. Lovely connection with the elements, lovely connection, even my fellow humans. I had some interactions with people today. Just, simple, basic interactions, right? Lovely, lovely. But I have no major distractions right now. In the sense that right now, at this point in my life, there's only really one person that I hang out with. So in other words, I know, all right, I teach on Saturday, Sunday, then I know Monday, all right, let's go. Nature, videos, the mission, self-study, all these different meditations that I do. I'm like, yes, I'm ready. No distractions. I'm not like, oh man, I gotta see that person on Wednesday, or no distractions. So if you have no friends right now or very little, it's like, yes. It's a blessing. I mean it. I'm not trying to make you feel better. It's a blessing. You may not see it that way, but it is a blessing. No distractions. Let's get into it. Let's get on with it. Let's do the inner work, because that's the most important work. Because nothing finite will fulfill you. Human interactions are finite. All humans will die. So it's finite. It's a finite source of connection. Food, finite source of connection. Finite energy. None of it fulfills the infinite. The infinite can only be fulfilled by itself, which is infinite. And if you're on the breatharian path, here's something. You will outlive most people. You will outlive your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, because most people are not on the breatharian path. But if you've managed to become a breatharian, you're going to outlive everybody. So you better damn get used to having people come and go out of your life. You see, if you become a breatharian, you live for a couple of 100 years, 300 years, I'm just saying, you're going to outlive most people that you know right now. So anything finite will not bring you fulfillment. The infinite can only be fulfilled by itself, which is the infinite. Your infinity, realize that, okay? So yeah, that's about it. So much gratitude and appreciation for all the Patreons who support this mission. If you want to support this mission, you want to support this community, which, by the way, I have ideas. I'm thinking of having a community house soon in Kopangan. I'm actually looking for a 2-bedroom so that I could bring some of you guys, have you guys stay over and stuff. The more resources we have via Patreon, the more we could do as a community. so we can bring each other together also, because for us, the people who go down these deep rabbit holes, again, it's not many people you meet that you can relate. So maybe if you can come spend a couple of weeks or a month with me here, you feel a connection, and then maybe, perhaps, if you come to spend here some time with me, I will make sure by the time you leave that you care not for me, that you're on your own. You see, that you hopefully will not even see my videos or my face again. Okay, so that would be the idea here. That would be the ideal situation, is you come spend a month with me, I'll show you a thing or two, and then you're on your own. That's all. It's all about the inner peace, right? The inner, that you, the infinite you. So the more money we have, the more people support the community, the more things we could do as a community. So the link for Patreon or one-time donations via PayPal is in the description. I love you guys, and Saeed Mobaida on Instagram for any questions or inquiries. Until next time, may the force be with you.